Hey everybody, Jacob here with Ground Zero, welcoming you to the 10th episode of the 0 Hour Podcast, brought to you by Ground Zero. Today, what are we doing? I am flipping the script a little bit on a longtime friend of mine, Mr. Ben Wu, and we are welcoming him as a guest on this podcast. Why, might you ask? Well, we want to dive into a little bit of industry perspective, and coming from the outside with a member of the industry that deals with really the entire 12 volt segment, whether it's audio, lighting, integration, and even just generic pieces of our industry. This guy knows all the manufacturers. He knows everybody who's who, what's what, and really gets to speak to all of the cool things that are done in the industry from a global platform. However, he's got questions for us, and I think that's super cool to be able to bring him onto our show instead of us having to suffer through his. Just kidding. I actually like CMA. But the other cool thing that we're going to do is he and Nick Wingate are going to do a little bit of interaction, discussing the importance of the customer interaction, the art of the demo, the art of the art of the sale. What is important about what happens when a customer steps through your doors, and why is that important? And again, coming from the outside perspective is going to be really cool. So stay with us. I'll be right back with Ben and Nick, kind of just bouncing around some cool ideas and having fun. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So you see, I don't know, I think they're over here. Two people on screen with me, one of which is a familiar face if you watch the podcast. The other is a familiar face if you pay attention to anything that this industry does online. So Ben, you're okay. Why is there a bunch of fishing stuff behind you? Normally there's some elaborate background and something else. Do we have casual Ben on camera right now?
I'll tell you what, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's not that this is something I do every day, but to be on your show, I mean, this is an honor. So thank you for the invite. Second of all, this was super last minute. No, it wasn't super last minute. You know what? We're coming in talking car audio and stuff that makes sense, and the passion that drives what we talk about. And I feel this is like a casual conversation. No, I don't have my big studio set up, and I don't think it's necessary for the type of stuff that we want to get into on the show.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And welcome to, I don't know, being on this side of the situation.
Can I say
right?
I've been watching you two for the last few episodes. I've probably watched them all. And I really appreciate, as a car audio enthusiast, seeing the dialogue, the type of topics that you guys are bringing to the conversation. You know, there's a lot of change happening in the industry, right? We're trying to keep up. There's ups and there's downs, but it's really refreshing to see what you guys are doing and just keeping it real, talking about stuff that's happening real time, like when you went to Europe, and bringing those experiences back. And I really appreciate it, just as a car audio enthusiast. So keep it up.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can keep that up, because that's one of the things that we've. Yes, I'm wearing a Ground Zero shirt. Nick's wearing a Ground Zero shirt. Yes, there's a reference amp behind me. While yes, this is Ground Zero, this is also the industry, and I don't care about scripts or, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. I don't care about selling product, right? This is a hobby that most of us have turned into a job, and we've still got to keep it fun. If there's no fun in it, what's the point in doing this? So, again, welcome, and hopefully you brought some questions with you, because
that's all I do is ask questions.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of my thing.
But now there's no filter. What is it that you've got? Lay it on us, Ben.
Well, listen, when I first got the call, if I want to be on the 0 Hour Podcast, I'm like, well, what are we going to be talking about? Right? Because we spend so much time talking about product and features and benefits and technology and so on and so forth. But I think where I'd like to ask some questions about, or give some insight to, is what makes Ground Zero, in my opinion, as kind of like an objective personality, like you said in the intro, I do deal with all the brands in the industry. Some of the questions that I might have for you that might shed some light as to what makes Ground Zero kind of unique, really, as a product offering within the industry, right? If you guys are okay with that, you'd like me asking some questions, I certainly have a few for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest thing that we're here for, is this is what we do. Like, this is the trainings that we put on, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's at a trade show or in person, or even, on episodes of your show, where over the last several years we've covered who Ground Zero is. But I'm not I mean, we've kind of done it here a little bit,
Hmm.
but not from a perspective of what are the questions. It's just
Hmm.
here's who we think we are.
Well,
So
let's
yeah,
bring that to light. Let's bring that to light. So check this out. I know that there's a lot of people watching this that are probably already Ground Zero fans, I would imagine, right? It's a Ground Zero podcast. But there's going to be a lot of people who are wondering, what's the big deal with Ground Zero, anyways? And I'm going to be the first one to raise my hand that when you guys showed up on the scene, I didn't really understand 100% where angle you guys were coming from. And here's why. We knew you had this huge cult following in the power sport slash motorcycle side of things.
mhm.
And then I got immediately confused when I went to the website and realized you guys don't offer any motorcycle audio. So I was like, what is going on here? Then fast forward, I don't remember what show this was. I finally got a chance to experience your demo vehicles. Now I gotta say, I sit into a lot of demo vehicles. You know, I get to listen to all different kinds of styles, all different levels of equipment, all different levels of budget. But one thing I will say is that the Ground Zero demo vehicles are always something I look forward to, and they're always different. I've seen from more entry level type of gear all the way up to mind blowing like Chris Pate's level type stuff.
Mm,
And I think you guys covered his car in a past episode,
Mhm.
um,
a little bit.
but a little bit. But what's interesting to me is it did take me, and this is somebody who's in this every day. It took me a while to really understand. So here's my question. I guess I want to direct this question to Nick first. Nick, you've been in the industry a long time. You were your previous employer, also very high end gear. So you've been in that space for a long time. If I had to ask you, what makes Ground Zero unique? How would you answer that question?
Well, I would say it has an awful lot to do with the people in Germany where it all starts. They eat, sleep, and drink music. That is the one thing that when I finally got to meet Carl and some of the other people, the engineers, I noticed that there was one common denominator when I talked to all of them. It was the passion they had for the music. And, you know, we all, when you're in business, and obviously this is a business, you have to turn a profit and you have to worry about the accounting. You have to worry about sales. You have to worry about what I like to call the bean counters. You have to worry about the bottom line. And of course they do. But I will tell you that when you talk to these guys and you realize that they are more interested in building a product that sounds a certain way or at a certain level, and they really just don't give a rat's rear end about what the end price is going to be, that that spoke volumes to me because that's what we used to do back in the 80s and the 90s here in the United States when we had, the brands that we all grew up with. They didn't care. I mean, let's face it. And I'm going to name product. I really don't care. Let's talk about the old Phoenix Golds and the Precision Powers and the way Rockford used to build stuff. I'm not saying Rockford doesn't build really good product. They do. But, back then, that stuff was expensive. In the early 90s, we were looking at amplifiers crossing the $2,000 and $3,000 mark that today would be $20,000 and
Nick, I
$30,000.
don't even remember how I afforded some of the gear I put into my car when I was young, to be honest.
Tell me about it. I look back upon my 85 Camaro and I look at what I had in it, and I was making a tenth of the money I'm making now. And hell, I had a $9,000 system in the car.
Hmm.
It might be 90 today. I mean, it was all relative, but and that was the passion that everybody in the industry had to build the absolute best that they could build.
Mhm.
It's still true today with this company. They literally are going to build the best they can and let the chips fall where they may and price it accordingly. And, okay, that's wonderful.
I'm happy you brought that up because my next question kind of segues to Jacob here. Um, One thing about Ground Zero that I had a hard time digesting was the price structure. We're so used to these good, better, best scenarios. I don't care what brand you look at, it's a
Mhm.
common marketing strategy, right? Let's come up with a product. Let's show them a good, a better, best, and an ultimate, for example. And that's how you're going to price it, right? So you're going to talk to the customer, and this is going to lead into the next part of our conversation. But I want to bring this up from a product offering standpoint, something that makes Ground Zero unique. I believe after understanding the brand a little bit better, to Nick's point, it's not about good, better, best. It's about having a collection of purpose-built specific components to achieve an end game. And that end game is the type of music that customer likes to listen to or how he wants to listen to it. That's the best way I can kind of explain it. Like, if you guys haven't checked out the Ground Zero website, I'll guarantee you're going to be confused. 100%.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're going to see a lot of scientific names and elements and on a periodic table. You'll be like, what does this have to do with car audio? And then you're going to dive a little bit deeper to understand that it's not about matching a nuclear sub with a nuclear amp. And sometimes they don't even make the amp, or some of the lines don't even have complete offerings, right? It's non-traditional the way they brought the product to market. So I don't know if you want to expand on that, but that's my takeaway, Jacob.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And I hate to say it this way, but in all of you and I's interactions over the last several years is the answers to these questions. So I'm going to plug your show. If you've got questions, the answers can be found there. But really what we look at is we want to be able to appeal to every mindset, right? So Ground Zero looks at it and goes, not only from a worldwide perspective, but from a music perspective, from an output perspective or a style perspective, we want to be able to appeal to every customer that can walk in the door, no matter what continent you're on, no matter what country you're in, no matter what listening style you have. I have a solution for you. And then when you dive a little bit deeper and you look at the product line, you can actually see that there is that concept of a good, better, best for any type of customer. And the big advantage there is I'm not an SQ company going into an SPL shop stating sell my SQ gear and I have good, better, best. No, I have product that appeals to your clientele, that when you learn the product, when you understand the product, or if we help you establish a product line for your store, that it's good, better, best for you, your client, and your store. But that's not to say that I'm going to walk out, I don't just walk into a motorcycle shop or an SPL. Like, I have SQ to the level of Uber reference grade that I can good, better, best for you. I mean, there's dealers out there that will only deal with, let's say plutonium reference and ultra. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous to have that product offering, but then be able to go into another shop in town who is more of an entry-level daily listener type clientele that deals with iridium, titanium, and hydrogen as his three go-tos. Now, you also hit the nail on the head. It's not that iridium goes with iridium, which goes with iridium. It's a hierarchy standpoint. So when you look at amplifiers, right? Iridium amplifiers are kind of our most entry-level price structure, but that doesn't mean that they're a cheap amplifier. Nick, his first real experience with iridium amplifiers, he was dumbfounded at what was happening in this Kia, which, we covered that in one of the past episodes, that there's this Kia that's out there that's iridium amplifiers and titanium components, and I believe radioactive XSPL subs. Obviously, no three products go together, but we knew what the product needed to be. We knew what the end result needed to be, and this is what we produced. And it was fucking fantastic for a demo, because people got out hearing the price tag going, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. Why? Because we knew what we were doing. We knew the product. We knew how to apply it. And we knew what the net result was going to try and be, which is kind of back to the conversation of a customer walks in. So when you guys cover that, that's going to be the most important part of this, is knowing the product, but also knowing your customer. And to be able to have a product line that can do exactly that for no matter who walks in the door, it's impossible to recreate.
And it's very, again, I'll use the word unique. Like I said, the way that Ground Zero presents its products either really makes sense or doesn't make sense at all. And I think one of the challenges that you have as a brand is that for a customer to take advantage of what your catalog actually is, there is a certain extra step of comprehension that is required. it's not a face value offering that, oh, you look at the catalog, you open up, and it all makes sense right out of the gate. Okay, so I think there needs to be one extra step that the dealer or the potential dealer has to invest in to properly understand what it is that Ground Zero is trying to offer you. And that's by design. Like, they didn't randomly do this. This is the way they've chosen to do business. And obviously it's been very successful on the global scale. I think North American dealers aren't used to this type of layout, as the best way I think I can explain it. However, on the flip side of that coin, once you can get past, the initial presentation and understand why these components are designed the way they are, whether you're talking about speakers, subs, or amps, then you start mixing them together to achieve that final goal that you're looking for in exactly that Kia example that you made. Where I want to go to Nick on this, and what I found was like a kind of like a tweaky surprise, was the level of fidelity that the level that Ground Zero can attain and what it offers. Like you mentioned, like some daily driver stuff, super fun, bread and butter type stuff. But that daily driver comes back 3 years later and he wants an upgrade. Ground Zero is one of those brands that they could stick with that customer through their car audio life, so to say, as they evolve, as their listening requires more detail, more outputs, whatever that may be. So as an advantage, I think Ground Zero, if as a dealer you can understand and fully take advantage of what it is they're offering, this puts the dealer in a unique situation and an opportunity. Because the other version of this is you can go with, a lot of top tier brands like Nick mentioned. I don't care which brand. There's a lot of great brands of car audio out there. But the difference in the way Ground Zero presents itself as a partner to you as a business, I think, is what's unique.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
On that note, I did have another question. Again, this is going to be directed towards Nick. Nick, I've seen you grow in the last year. Like, I've known you for years, but in this last year, like, I've seen.
You're telling me I've gotten fat? Thanks a lot.
No,
really appreciate that,
give me a chance.
We make
back it up.
Part of Nick's contract is good food. So
okay, that's fine. But Nick,
yeah, I'm gonna leave. Y'all can have this. Okay,
listen, brother. Do you know how happy and giddy I am when I see you excited talking about things like motorcycle audio that I've never thought I'd ever come out of your mouth? When I see you playing and getting all like mesmerized by this new speaker cone material, like, that excites me, because you've seen it all, right? You've done it.
Oh yeah.
So that energizes me. Because let's be honest, not, car audio is car audio, right? I mean, we're still talking speakers and amps and subs. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And sure, we can say DSP through another, layer into all of it. But at the end of the day, we all geek out on gear. And there's a lot to geek out about Ground Zero. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, there's, yeah. I mean, we can go as nosebleed, high-end home audio file sound as you want with the product line, especially when we're talking about ultra and reference. It's amazing. And there are times when I find myself listening to it and I sit there and I think, where can I find the flaws? And when I start doing that, then I start realizing just how good this is. Because a lot of times when you listen to, and Ben, you've been in the home audio world, as well as I do. You can go sit down in front of a set of cabinets that retail for X number of dollars and go, how much is this? Really? Okay. And you can do it in front of the car audio as well, too. Somebody's bored and they got X product and you can sit there listening to it and go, okay, that's nice. But when you get in front of something or you get in a car and you listen to the music and you've never heard something in the recording and all of a sudden it shows up and you go, what in the hell is that? That's where the level of product that Ground Zero has. That's the level of engineering. That's the design prowess. That's being meticulous. That's paying attention to detail. That's choosing the right parts, whether it's cone material or whether it's amplification part, preamplifier, whatever it might be. That is what makes it fun for me, is we get to experience something all over again.
Mm.
You sit there and listen to, a piece of music, and all of a sudden you realize that the level of detail that is available on this recording is actually coming through in the system, and you've never heard it before. You know, I'm just going to tell you, Jeffrey Hall at MTI called me last week. They have a reference three-way on their board. They're their first, I believe they're going to be the first one in the country that actually has a full three-way set on their board. And Jeffrey was having a fit because apparently somebody has released a version of Creep that is really, really good. And apparently she is singing in the right hand channel. There's a grandfather clock in the very, very, very back right hand corner of the room, and it starts to chime. And Jeffrey had never heard it before.
Nice.
And he called me and he goes, "This is absolutely ridiculous." And this is somebody that has a multi award winning, fantastic sounding vehicle and knows what he's doing when it comes to tuning cars. And yeah, that's what this is about. That's the level of fidelity that you can obtain when you have people that care. And that's, I think, is a statement about not just the product, but I think it's about the philosophy of the company.
Mm.
That there's certain things we're all striving to obtain. And even when we're talking about, we're talking about the bikes. There's a certain level of fidelity that I hear on the bikes that I don't hear on anything else. Like at that level of product, and especially on a motorcycle, because you only have so much to work with on a bike, and when you hear, pedals on an organ being played on a freaking motorcycle, I mean, really? I mean, for God's sakes, really? And yet, I sit there listening to the bike Andy brought to SEMA. And I'm sitting there listening to it, playing some classical music. And I'm just like, really?
First of all,
You're
that bike
shit.
is ridiculous.
It
I've never
is.
heard any bike sound like that.
Hold on,
No,
let's be honest here. It's a Volkswagen. I mean, it's a car,
it is.
kind of. It's an open air car for more.
I only got a chance to hear it once. I feel like I need to hear it again because the first time I heard it, I was just trying to understand what it was I was listening to. The
Yeah.
next time I'm going to listen, if I ever get a chance to listen to it again, is actually put it through its paces. Because the first time you hear it, like, how is that coming from this vehicle that's in front of me? It doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense.
100%.
Right. So it's the shock value, right? Like, what the hell's going
Oh,
on? You're trying
no
to
question.
figure it out. You're like, I understand audio. I should understand what's happening to me right now, but you don't. So
No, you don't. You sit there and you listen to it and you go, first of all, my brain is like, now, how in the name of the Almighty
I had the same feeling.
is this going on in an open air environment?
The bass, the vocals, the stage.
Yes.
Yes, I said stage
Yeah. Stage.
on a bike.
And it had depth
I
of
know,
stage,
it's weird.
it had imaging. And of course, I'm standing in the back of the bike,
Mhm.
15 feet away, going,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
really?
can't do the Nick Wingate face, but I kind of had the same face.
I'm just like,
Yeah,
you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
But that's when I also realized, really and truly for the very first time, that the level of fidelity that can be obtained with this product is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Whether it's entry level, whether it's something that has a compression driver with a horn and it's a pro audio driver, or whether it's ultra reference
Or bass, dude. I've
plutonium.
heard some crazy SPL setups too.
Oh, and
Right.
Mm.
I don't even want to go there.
Mhm.
Holy, you know what? I mean,
Mhm.
that's amazing. And uh, to do what they do, top to bottom, whether it's amplifiers, whether it's speakers, whether it's preamp, I mean, I don't care.
Mhm.
I don't think they compromise, and that
Oh, did we lose Nick?
We just lost Nick.
We lost Nick. But, okay, well, I'm going to chime in because you had said something while we wait for Nick to get back.
I don't know what
He's
happened.
back.
Oh, there he is.
He's back.
But the thing that one of the things that I've noticed about Nick too is we know that Nick is a geek about individual componentry, right? Like there's jokes in the industry about Nick and glue and these kind of, but you know what though? To know why something is used for a particular situation is key. But one of the things that I got to experience, which I have never experienced with Nick before in my career, was watching him sit through the training that happened at Emma. They broke it up into two sections. Right? So there was the product training, and then there was, if you're curious about why we built this new reference tweeter, stick around. And I believe Stefan called it, was it an all-access training? Is that what it was?
It's called an all-access training. Yes.
And watching Stefan go through and explain why the new cone is shaped the way that it is, why it functions the way that it does, what the advantages are, how it's measurable on a microphone, and actually see the real-world results of that test in comparison to other similar products or other completely different products was absolutely like interesting. And I think I watched Nick more than I watched the training because this was really one of the first times I had ever gotten to experience him in that environment. And to be able to see, I don't want to say the light bulb turn on, but the light bulb got, when they, in the cartoons, when the light bulb gets so bright that it's about to explode, like that's what I witnessed. I witnessed Nick getting geeked out about something real time.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to me to be able to experience that, but know that we were doing it in what he said was, a group of engineers that never wanted to compromise, that said, this is what needs to be done. Here is why it needs to be done. And here is the result of it being done the correct way, was really, really cool for me.
Yeah, well, I agree.
And that was honestly that right there was, now I get why Nick is Nick. Listen, like I get that ability now to say I witnessed it. And this is the Nick that I've known for, I've been working with you since like 2000 and...
You're just aging Nick right now. You know that, right? That's all you're doing.
I'm just egoing
Nick? Just aging him.
Well, I've been working with him since...
So now I'm old and fat. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Listen, I'm just going to jump in real quick.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the perspective that you asked me to bring to the table, I love the stories of Nick. That's inspiring stuff. It's stuff that makes me giddy, right? If you like car audio and you get somebody like Nick to kind of go, holy crap, that's cool stuff. So here's my message, right? A lot of great brands out there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't understood Ground Zero yet, it's worth your time. Talk to one of these two guys. They'll explain it to you. And once you figure that out, I think there's a lot there to work with a lot of advantages, not only on the delivery side, but also on the business side, right? For the dealers that are listening. It's a unique product. You just need, like every great unique product, you got to understand it. That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Hey Ben, it's almost like you know what you're doing.
I do it,
like you just want one of these shirts and you can do my job because I'd be totally okay with that. It's almost like you've done one of these.
Brother, if you sat in on the amount of training time that I have over the last 5 years on all the different brands, you would understand.
Oh, I'd probably be burned out. I'll call it what it is.
Including mine.
Yep. Perfect.
Well, okay, so I'm going to end this segment here because when these two guys come back, they are going to really dive more into the interaction. And this is one thing that I just love sitting back and watching. So stay tuned and they will be right back to discuss the importance of what you do with the knowledge that you obtained from Ground Zero. So we'll be right back.
All All right, so I guess Jacob totally left us to our own vices here. We can talk about whatever we want, Nick. Listen,
It works for me.
it works. I always appreciate having an opportunity to chit chat with you about cool things like this. And this conversation that we're about to dig into, you and I have had I don't know how many times in the background, in the hallways, over lunch. And the conversation is this, you know, and this might be a little bit more skewed towards you dealers out there that might be tuning in, but it's also as a customer, I think you can learn a lot of what you should expect from a proper dealer that's going to take care of you when you're ready to invest in that next, car audio system. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what we're talking about is the process of getting the customer what he's actually looking for and how that works. So what I mean by that is, we're living in a world these days, Nick, where the internet is unavoidable, right?
Hmm.
The
Yeah,
customer has in his mind, her mind, that they want to put a system in their car. It's one of two things. It's either they're not happy with the system they currently have, or maybe they actually are inspired to finally put that system that they've always dreamt of. Maybe they can afford it now, whatever that situation may be.
sure.
Where the two scenarios are the same is that they want better sound, right? That's what
Yep,
they ultimately, that is their goal.
yep.
Now, what I want to bring to light, and we'll go back and forth on this, I mentioned internet. Customers these days, they're going to Google everything. They're going to go on the Amazons. They're going to go on the forums. There's so many ways to get information before a dealer ever sees or knows about this customer. So know that if the customer walks into your store, this customer is a pre-qualified customer. Do you agree with that statement, Nick?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, they've done their research and they're already narrowing things down, listening to how do I want to the keyboard commandos, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. So yeah, they've quote unquote they're pre-qualified unquote. Yeah.
And the reason I qualify them is because for a human being to walk into your physical store these days, they're ready to buy something. Back in
Oh
the
yeah.
days, you and I on the sales floor, how many tire kickers did we have to deal with?
No, it's fifty
Right?
percent.
Like
Yep.
it's hard to tell just by is that person just here just because he's a fan and he just wants to see what's new? This person just here to waste your time or he just wants to pick your brain. But nowadays, if there's a customer that's physically walking into your shop, he's already regarded you as one of his options, right, in your
Yep.
area to do an
Absolutely.
install, and that you are a specialist. And I want dealers to hear that. The customer walking in your store is a pre-qualified customer in the sense that they are expecting something from you, and that what they are expecting is your expertise, right?
Yeah.
You are the
Absolutely. Yeah.
specialist. You know what fits, you know what gear, you know how to install it, and you are the method by which they will achieve their end game, and that is better
Mm.
sound.
You
Fair
better
enough?
be.
All right. In
You
other
better
words, what I'm
be.
trying to say is if you can't close a customer that's coming in, you're not doing something right because they're already
Yeah, you're
pre-qualified.
doing
I
something
guess is
wrong.
what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's fast
Yeah.
forward to the fun part. How often do we sit here and pre or skip a step and assume that the customer wants what you're selling?
All the time.
Why do we do that?
It's human nature.
Should we be doing this?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
There's an old adage: if you assume something, you've made an ass of yourself in sales.
So,
You don't. That's number one. You should never assume anything about the client.
exactly. Not
Never.
not what they listen
No.
to, not what they
Nope.
like, but more specifically, how and what they like to listen to. And what I mean by that
Uh,
is for me, and this is funny, this works for home audio, car, it doesn't matter, audio in general. Okay. Just
mhm.
as a quick, you mentioned, I have a background selling home audio, and that helped me get into car audio. And really, I've carried
Yep.
on with me the same kind of techniques.
Yeah. Me too.
What I like to do, and I think you're going to agree, you got to get to know the customer, right? You
You
need to
better.
set a baseline for things that are
Yeah.
arbitrary, like volume, bass. These are
Yeah.
all subjective kind of things, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And you cannot assume. Again, you can't assume anything. Anytime that I've ever done any sales training, the one thing that I've told everybody about a demo board, a demo room, or a demo car is that the system needs to be balanced no matter what. Do not accentuate anything or do not attenuate anything. Give them a very nice, even keeled sound. And then from that point, we can ask, what is your preference? Then, oh, well, okay, then if you want a little more mid bass and sub bass, okay, fine. Do you need a little more high frequency? No, it's killing me. Turn that thing down, but we can do that. But you have to give them a baseline to start with. And I don't care what you as a salesperson listen to, that doesn't matter. This is about the client. This is about what they want. It's their money. It is not your money, it's theirs.
So you know that term everybody uses, you shouldn't be selling out of your own wallet? Well, you should
Oh,
also
everybody
not be
does.
selling out of your own ears.
No, I mean, everybody does. Learned salespeople get in a nasty habit, and I've seen this, and you do too. Then they have their favorite system.
Mm-hmm. Their go-to.
Yeah, if it's an F-150, I'm going to sell them these subs, these amps, and these speakers, and this is the install, and I know it's going to sound good, and it's, let's say, $5,500.
Mm-hmm.
Great, fantastic. You made $5,500. Could you have made 15,000?
Wouldn't know, would you?
You don't know. You screwed the pooch.
So, okay,
You didn't
before we
try.
get, I want to accentuate this point. You have the customer in. You got to establish a baseline. For
Yeah,
me, volume,
yeah.
bass. Those are
You
the
can.
two first things you need to establish. And here's
Yeah.
how I'll tell you how I do it. I want to see how you would do this. All right.
Mm-hmm.
If they had a vehicle, and a lot of times these days are people coming in with factory systems that they want improvement on, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is what drives our business. Go outside to the vehicle. First, you're going to establish what vehicle you're working on, fellas. Like, you need to know.
Yeah, you better know.
You need to know what vehicle you're working on.
Yeah.
So go outside, go to the vehicle. That's number one. Number two, play a track that they would listen to, right? What are you listening to right now? Play it for me, right?
Yep.
Gives you an idea of the kind of music they listen to. Have the
Absolutely.
conversation. When do you listen to your music? Is this something you want to come home, sit on your driveway for half an hour before you come in and decompress? Yep. Is this something you just want to blare down the highway on weekends? Is this something you listen to on traffic going to and from? Whatever the lifestyle may be, get to
Yep.
know what it is the situation is. And then lastly, put up to a volume that you accept. Most of the time, they'll be like, probably a lot less loud than you would think. Or it might be the other way. He's going so high that it's past the distortion mark, and he just
Yep.
absolutely wants more volume. So again,
Yep.
establish the volume. And then from the bass side of things, have you had other systems in your car before? What was your previous system that you really liked or that you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a single 8 or was it 16 12s? Like, you don't know unless you ask the question.
No, you mean qualify the customer? Oh my God, really?
Right? This is all about qualifying the customer. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, some of the dealers out there have seemed to lost their way. I don't know if it's because they got used to selling packages, like you were mentioning, like that package. That's I'm not saying that, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's a bad way to go. I'm just
No.
trying to shed light on,
Mm.
if you're a boutique and you're the specialist, and that person's come in and they have an expectation, and your job is to establish what that expectation is.
Yep. That's the primary job, is to find out what their expectations are, and then the way I've been taught is exceed them.
All the time.
You have to exceed the client's expectations, because if you don't, they're going to find something wrong. But if you exceed their expectations, they're not going to find anything wrong, because they're going to be so damn happy.
But so great point. Do you know what step one to exceeding expectations is? It happens before you deliver the final product. Exceeding expectations starts at you doing your job and properly qualifying the customer.
That's it.
Because if you're the first person that they're engaging with on their path to getting a sound system, that they feel that not only you've demonstrated that you're listening, you've demonstrated that you are the expert, that you've taken the time to do the necessary steps to achieve. Now you're at the stage of a potential system build.
Sure.
Right? You've already exceeded their expectation from the first part, anyways.
Absolutely. You became the expert, and they're
Now
not going anywhere else.
So this is
And you're not going anywhere else. As a client, you're not going anywhere else. You're staying there.
This dude gets me. He's listening. He knows what I want. Now the next step is, okay, so does he have the goods to deliver what we've now established as what I want? Now this is
Well,
where the ground zero thing kind of ties in now.
well, and that's where you have to understand that if you're doing top down sales, this becomes easy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying the other way around, you're not. No, this is
No,
bad.
if you're doing
And
your
this is
job,
so.
if you're doing your job like we just discussed, and listen, we can break this out into so many different chapters and capsules and whatnot, but we're
We'd be
being
here all
general here.
afternoon.
We're being general here in this conversation.
Yeah.
If you've done your job, you've now explained to the customer, okay, to achieve the type of volume, the type of sound that you're looking for in the vehicle that you want to do it in, here's a baseline of what we could look at. Now, individual, you can give them a good better or better good or best better, however you want to do
Yeah.
it,
However you want to do
for
it.
the speakers, for the amp, whatever, whatnot. But in general, if you've done your job and you've felt them out, the type of sound this person is looking for, you should be able to put together a system. And when I say system, I mean wires, I mean integration modules,
Oh,
I mean a
absolutely.
DSP, I mean the sound dampening. Do not wait to the last second to add necessary items. Nobody
No,
appreciates that.
no. I have always one of the things I've taught for a long time is we all know the basic needs that we have to put a system together.
Mm-hmm.
We all know you have to have primary wire, you have to have ground, we have to have turn on, we have to have fuses, we have to have fuse blocks, we have to have distribution blocks, we have to have interconnect, we have to have speaker cable, we have to have sound deadening in every freaking door that we're going to put speakers in. All of that is a static build. We know that. We already know what that cost and what we're going to charge for it. You better have that in the back of your brain immediately and know what that figure is, whether it's 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. And then it's a matter of, okay, so which equipment are we going to use and how much custom labor are we going to have to
Because
pull
look,
this
Nick,
off?
we all know the fun stuff is the gear, right? Like that's the fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Choosing between
But
this driver and that driver, this sub and that sub, this amp, and that's
yeah,
the fun part.
but that's also how we have to, as salespeople, you have to be able to let the client choose what is best for them,
Mm-hmm.
not the other way around. You're trying to choose for them. No, you let them make this decision. Your job as a salesperson in audio is to let them hear the best possible solution for their needs. If that doesn't meet it, then we go either up or we go down. And if we start at the top, all we're going to do is we're going to find a place where the level of fidelity meets the level of their pocketbook they're willing to part with.
Right
There
there.
it is.
There it is.
And it's that simple.
Now, I
What a
will add,
novel
that's why I
concept.
brought it up. That decision only comes after you've established, like you said, the wiring, the accessories, the fuses,
Yeah.
the sound, like that's critical. We all know. Nobody in car already doesn't know this. You can't install a system without these items. B, you can't optimize the final performance if you don't do things like sound deadening and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So establish that from the get-go is
Oh,
my
that's a requirement.
It's a requirement. And back in the day in home audio, it was a percentage. That's how I sold it.
Well, me too. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know we have to have treatments, especially if this is a fairly decent system. We're putting something in the room to kill the
Yeah.
bass
Are you
balloon
going to go
somewhere.
get the 16 gauge standard wire off the roll for your $3,000 pair of speakers? No.
No,
Of course
no,
not.
no, you better
Right?
not.
No, you better
No.
not.
And,
Doesn't make any sense.
no, it doesn't. 15% of this build is interconnect speaker cable.
Mm-hmm.
I do the same thing. I mean, I don't mind telling you, I'm going to be teaching a class in a few weeks for all of our reps on how we're going to sell wire.
Oh, yes. Wires. I love wire. Wire's fun.
Oh, we're missing the boat on when it comes to wire, ladies and gentlemen.
Wire is
RCA's and speaker cable, it all matters.
It all matters. And
You
that's
can.
the key. When messaging, sir, I'm here to build you your system. I want to make sure it performs from top to bottom. If I don't deliver on creating the right system for what you're looking for and what you've described to me today, then I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
Now, the decisions that you have to make are very important because once we get to a point where we have to decide between speaker A and B, or amplifier A and B, or subwoofer A and B, or level of fabrication, or the finish of the fabrication. Do you want lighting? All these extra things. These are fun things that you could put into the customer's hands.
Yeah.
Because they feel that they are now taking control of their final destiny. Once you have established the foundational system build. So let's just rewind a little bit. Okay, we talked very fast there. The point we're not trying to point out that people are doing things wrong or not. We just want to revisit the art of the system sale.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two human, me and you, we love this stuff. Like, I live to deliver that awesome, perfect system.
Mm-hmm.
Is it cooler when they have a little bit more budget? Of course it is.
Oh, sure it is.
But that doesn't mean that the process changes between a $4,000 system or a $40,000 system.
No, it doesn't.
Is the same.
It is. It's let's find the level of fidelity that makes them happy and the amount of money they're willing to spend to get there.
Exactly.
That's it. There's nothing more to it.
In the beginning of this, I mentioned that, those tuning in, whether they're dealers or consumers, could get something out of this. As a consumer, I'm going to speak to you consumers out there, you enthusiasts. You work hard for your money. And if you come to the point where you decide it's time to put that system into your vehicle that you've always wanted, well, you should also have an expectation from the shop that you are going to choose to do that install and to create that system for you. And these are the kind of items that you should expect from a top shop to be able to deliver on those promises. Would you agree on that, Nick?
Absolutely. No question.
If the shop isn't asking the questions, if the shop isn't walking you to your car, if the shop isn't trying to understand the level of volume and the type of base and the past systems that you've had, well, how well does the shop are they in tune with what you're actually looking for?
Hey, couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all I'm saying. So if you're a consumer and you're an enthusiast, have a high level of expectation. It's your money. You want the best system for what you can afford and what you envision to be in your vehicle. Make sure you're with a dealer that can deliver on what we just discussed. If you're a dealer tuning in, take some notes. If you're not already doing it, or you used to do it and you kind of lost your way, or you haven't tried this system yet, it's easy to say, sure, we can chuck you, we can put an enclosure in the back and do the 5-channel and here's some speakers. Oh, and I'll get it to you. If you're giving them a price and a budget before you've even asked a single question,
You just failed.
You just failed.
Yep. You just failed.
You failed. They could have walked into Costco to pick up the system, for crying out loud. If that's what they're looking for, is to pick up a box.
Oh, they'll do it all online, have it shipped to them, then they go find somebody to install it.
Exactly. But can I tell you something? You want to be a successful shop? You got to be the expert.
And that's right.
The expert on
that's
product,
the bottom line.
Product, installation, and customer satisfaction.
Absolutely. Yep. Then you get a great, wonderful Yelp review.
Listen, we'll close this segment real quick, but how I want to circle that with Ground Zero and why we're even talking about this. Number one, it's awesome that you guys are doing a podcast that doesn't just talk about, specifics of products or anything all day. This is cool information that we don't get a lot of opportunities to discuss. But to circle back to Ground Zero, if you're a shop that does the type of things that Nick and I have been talking about, right? The probing, the qualifying, the creating the system. Ground Zero is an amazing option to be able to deliver on that process.
Oh, because, we've got everything you need to be successful, no matter what the client may want or need. We got it. Trust me.
And that is, it's not the good, better, and best thing.
It's just how good
that suits that need.
It's the clients, whatever the client's needs are. I promise you, we can give them and succeed in every respect.
Well, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat. This is the type of conversation that Nick and I honestly have all the time because we hear different stories and we're always our interest is to elevate the industry and making sure everybody's, doing their best to their potential. Hopefully this helped you out. And on behalf of me, anyways, I'm happy I'm here. Always a good time, Nick. And hopefully you guys learned something.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, and there you have it. What did we cover in this? One, it's something that I've talked about a lot. It's the brand, it's who we are, it's what we cover, it's how we cover it, and why that's important to the 12-volt industry. And again, I thank Ben for his insight on this, because coming from the other side of the camera, so to speak, it does open up a lot of opportunity for questions from the industry that really he gets to cover. But what I also really dig about, or really got to enjoy about this, was watching them interact about, Ben and Nick, about the entire concept of the sale, the interaction, what is lost on the industry at this point. And I think that is really how we stay relevant is the sale or the demo or the, every moment from when a customer steps in to a customer leaves, why every bit of that is important. And everything they see, everything they hear, everything they do, touch is all more valuable than you think it is. So with that being said, I'm going to end this. Thank you guys for joining me on the 10th episode of the 0 Hour Podcast, which also means that this is the 10th time I'm saying this. Follow us on social media at groundzerousa.com. We'll see you again next month, fresh off of yet another show, and it's going to be exciting. I'll see you guys then. Bye.